Hello everyone, welcome back to the Happy Puppers. So today we are going to discuss how to deal with rescue dog biting problems. So I am Dr. Shruti and author and owner of thehappypuppers.com. The link to the blog will be there in the description section, so go check it out. If you want to be the best guardian to your dog, that is the place you need to hang out. So subscribe to it so I can let you know the moment a new blog post releases. Subscribe to this channel if you are new here, and if you're a returning subscriber, a very warm welcome. And I'm so happy that you decided to tune in to check out this video, so thank you so much already. All right, so today we are going to deal with how to handle rescue dog biting problems. Now, before I go into the biting problem, let's discuss what a rescue dog is. A rescue dog is any dog who has been rescued, as the name suggests. Now, they can be rescued off the streets, or they may have been abandoned by their humans on the side of the road or in a shelter, or they were living in a really bad condition on the streets and they were being aggressive because they were previously hurt by humans. They do not trust humans anymore, and they are being fiercely aggressive, and they have been rescued off the street. So in most cases, when people think of rescue dogs, they are worried that the dog is going to be really aggressive. That's not right. Rescue dogs just want to find someone. Basically, every dog, it's not just about rescue dog, every dog wants to find their own human whom they can trust in 100%. Now, in case of rescue dogs, some dogs have been rescued from really difficult living conditions. So they may behave aggressively, but the first thing that you need to understand is if their behavior seems off, it's only because they are really scared of you. You bring home a rescue dog, it's an environment you're aware of. The dog is not. For the dog, that environment is a completely new place full of unknown dangers. The dog doesn't know whether to trust you or not, whether to trust your family members or not, or what is going to happen to him or her in there. So if you were suddenly picked up from your home and put in someplace else where there were these people you did not know, or where there were these animals rather whom you did not know, and you didn't know what they were talking about themselves, you didn't know what they were telling you, wouldn't you be scared? It's the same in case of dogs. They need time to acclimatize. They need time to understand that they can put their faith and trust in you, and you are not going to harm them. So if they are, snapping at you, biting you, behaving aggressively, it's not like they are wired to do that or they just love doing that. They are doing so because they are afraid. They are afraid of you. They are afraid of their environment. They don't know how to react. They don't know if they should put their trust in you. So please keep that in mind before you get a rescue dog. It can be that the dog is very loving right from the start. Well, if that happens, you are very lucky, and the dog, it's just going to be purely amazing. But even if it's an aggressive dog, it doesn't mean that the dog will always stay aggressive. You just need a bit of time and patience to establish trust with the animal. That's all. So, coming to the first point about how to deal with rescue dog biting problems, establish trust. Now, this may take a couple of hours, this may take a couple of days, or this may even take a couple of months, depending on the dog's history. Now, dogs cannot tell you what they've been through, or if their previous human beat them, or was aggressive towards them, or only used negative reinforcement when training them. Dogs cannot tell you all of that. They can only show you what they are afraid of if the trigger arises in their presence. So if your dog seems aggressive, all you have to do is just wait it out. Especially if that aggression is born out of fear. So if you are taking your hand to your dog and your dog is snapping at you, that most likely means, and the dog is in a corner or in a cage. If that's the case, then the dog is feeling cornered, he's scared, and he's snapping at you as back off, I don't want you near me. The best way is to just let the dog cool down. Stay close, in eye distance, where the dog can watch you, but don't pay attention to the dog. If you pay direct attention to the dog doesn't want to interact with you, but you are constantly forcing him. No. I'm not going to do anything to you. I am fine. I'm okay. I just love you so much, etc., etc. The dog will not understand that. Well, the dog is seeing that you're encroaching his personal space, and he needs to defend his territory. So try to not do that. Despite your best intentions, try to not do that. You're just putting yourself in harm's way, and you're making that dog more aggressive, more anxious, which is not good for either of you in terms of bonding. So in the initial few days, stay within the within the eye range of your dog, where your dog can see you constantly, but do not approach the dog. Let the dog acclimatize to the environment first. That's the first step, because the dog is in a new environment. He needs to know that there are no dangers around. First, let him figure that out. So stay where the dog can see you, stay within his peripheral vision range, but don't approach him. Just let him do his thing. Eventually, the dog will get curious. He will automatically come to you, try and sniff you out. Maybe initially not talk so much, not interact with you so much, just sniff and run away. But let him take his own time. They always recover. Trust me, dogs are the most resilient creatures I've ever seen. And I have seen dogs in many different stages of life and with many, many different conditions, trust me. So, I mean, it's their resilience that sometimes just keeps me going. So, take your time, give your dog time, and trust me, it'll all work out. Point number 2, gradual socialization. Your dog needs to understand that not everyone is bad, especially if your dog is coming from an aggressive environment previously where he was hurt, used for dog fighting, or anything of the sort where he was not treated with dignity and respect. So, the best way is to socialize your dog and show him that, okay, others are not so bad as you're thinking. You can coexist. You don't have to love everyone. You don't have to go and give hugs to everyone, but you can coexist. So how are you going to do this? First, obviously, you have to establish your own trust with your dog, so that if someone comes in, your dog knows who is going to protect him if he's in trouble. So first, you establish your trust, and second, after you've established your trust comes your family members. So one by one, each of the family members establish their trust. The dog learns to love more than one human and coexist with more than one human. Then you can start introducing, if your dog is still reactive towards other dogs, then you may have to work with a behaviorist to with the socialization steps, because you obviously don't want to put the other dog or animal in harm's way. But if your dog seems comfortable with other dogs around, then you can take your dog out to dog parks or introduce him one by one to a few friends, and then them together. The point is, this all should be done very gradually. You cannot have your dog knowing one person and then next day knowing 3 people suddenly. It's very, very, very difficult for your dog. It'll make him very anxious, and it's basically traumatizing to your dog. Like, I only know this one person. Who are these 3? What are they doing in my territory? Are they here to take me away from my person? What is going to happen? I don't know. How do I save myself? Imagine if all of these thoughts are running in your head like a loop, like every 2 seconds you're getting all of these thoughts in your head. Even you'd be anxious. It's basically like you put yourself in a war zone where from both sides people are firing and you're stuck in the middle of the field. How would you feel then? That's how your dogs feel. If you suddenly, take socialization from 0 to 10 in the span of a day. So it has to be very gradual. Allow your dog to understand that humans are not bad. And then once your dog understands that, okay, it's comfortable with a few humans, then you start taking him on walks where people are not paying attention to him. They're just doing their business. Your dog is like, okay, so we can coexist at least. Then when guests come to your house, you tell them, don't interact with the dog. Just let him do his own thing. You just do your own thing and just let him be. Don't make eye contact. Don't talk to him. Let him sniff you out. Usually this is the best way with reactive dogs. They are scared. The reason they attack is because they are scared, in most cases. Some cases, the situation might be different, and there you might have to work with a behaviorist or a dog psychologist. But in most cases, dogs behave that way because they're scared. So you just have to show them there is nothing to be scared about. And that can only happen if people don't pay attention to your dog. Point number 3, reinforcement with positive stuffs and training. Training is the foundation of trust. When you train your dog learns to recognize your body language, your voice, your tone, how you talk to him, how you train him. Like it tells your dogs volumes about you. So, training, but always with positive reinforcement. You don't know what background your dog is coming from, whether he's been abused previously or worse. You don't want to put your dog in a situation where he feels scared, frightened, or threatened, because then he will go aggressive and he will lash out at you. And that can end in you getting hurt. So none of that. Even if it's not a rescue dog, even if you brought home a dog, a non-rescue dog, or one you got from the breeders where he had a very loving home, or whatever, negative reinforcement is never the answer to developing a bond with your dog. Negative reinforcement just does not work. It absolutely does not work. Because you don't want your dog to be frightened of you. You want your dog to have a bond with you. You want your dog to love you. Not just be like, oh my god, this person enters the room, I must go and hide. That should not be the case. So focus on training with positive reinforcements. Always have treats in your hand. When you do positive reinforcement, your dog understands that, okay, so this is the cue and I'm supposed to do this. And then this is the cue and I'm supposed to do this. When training, you can also include non-verbal commands, get your family involved, more and more people involved, so that, the socialization and the training goes hand in hand. So you can tailor it to your specific needs or to how your dog likes it. As I mentioned before, if you're facing problems, do not hesitate in consulting a behaviorist or a dog trainer so that you know where you are going wrong. You don't have to put the reins of training in someone else's hands. You can still do it. Just find out where you're going wrong. That's all. That's all that's needed. All right, coming to the next point. Point number 4. As I mentioned before, get professional training assistance. See, we all love dogs. You wouldn't be here if you don't love dogs. You wouldn't be watching this video if you don't. So everyone who is here right now loves dogs, animals, cats. But these things that I'm talking about, these apply to almost every animal. Any animal, any rescue animal you've got who's been abused or even non-abused and is a rescue, these tips will apply. So if you're finding it hard to train, if you feel that something's going wrong, your dog is not paying attention, maybe you're training at the wrong time. Maybe you're not using the right kind of treats. Maybe you're poisoning the cue. Or maybe your family members are doing so without you knowing. Like, you have trained your dog to listen to come. Come means the dog comes to you. Someone else is like, let's go. Someone else is like, I can't think of any other example. I usually use come and let's go with my kids, and they are aware of both the commands. So it can be, all right, get going. Someone may use get going. Your dog will not know what get going means. Your dog is not aware of synonyms. So when these things happen, these are called as cue poisoning. You keep your commands to 1 or 2 cues at the max. I actually do not even train my boys to on come and let's go. They just picked it up on their own. Now they're staring at me. So you have to start with 1 command and stick to it. Then maybe your training time of the day is wrong. Maybe your dog is way high up on his energy levels and is not paying attention because he's distracted. Or maybe your placing is wrong. Maybe where you're training your dog is not the right place you should train. So somewhere or the other you must be going wrong, which is why the training is not being successful. So getting professional training assistance, you will know where you are going wrong. Maybe it's your body language that your dog is finding threatening. Maybe you're not very calm. Maybe you're not relaxed. Maybe you're anxious yourself. It could be n number of reasons. So for that, get professional training assistance and your life, trust me, will be a lot more easier. Tip number 5. Patience and consistency. When coming to the dog world, nothing works if you're not patient. You have to be the epitome of patience. When you get a rescue dog, as I said, you never know what they've been through. So it may take a while for the dog to open up to you, to be comfortable with you, to actually, interact with you. You have to give dog the time. You cannot force your dog to just be completely open with you because you're such an amazing human being and you've rescued him and he should be grateful and stuff. It doesn't work with dogs, no. You have to give your dogs the time. You have to give that dog the time to understand that you are someone who truly loves him, are never going to hurt him, and will always, always, always be there for him. Patience and consistency. Training should be done every day. You can be sick. You can have a really bad mood when you're not feeling like training. That's okay. Doesn't mean that there is no training for 7 days or 10 days, and then suddenly you ask your dog to go through all of the command list and your dog has forgotten everything. That's obviously bound to happen. So consistency has to be there, and you obviously have to be very, very, very patient. Point number 6. Identify triggers. If your dog is reacting to one specific thing, like if you have a newspaper in your hand and your dog just starts going bonkers, screaming and everything, so that means there is something in that newspaper that the dog is afraid of. Maybe he was previously where he was, or the humans who he was with were hitting him with the newspaper. Your dog may start reacting to the color, associating him with the dog fighting ring or something. Identify those triggers. Once you have identified these triggers, then you have to start to manage them. You have to show the trigger, but also give positive reinforcement to your dog so that your dog starts to associate the trigger with something positive and not with the negative memories of his past. Point number 7. Use gentle correction methods. If your dog is if your dog is displaying unwanted behavior, then say a firm no. Do not hit him. Do not put a shock collar. Do not hurt your dog. Say no. And then when the dog, suppose your dog is like getting up on the table and you say off. That means get off the table. Off. And your dog immediately follows your command. Reward that behavior. Mark that behavior. Reward it. So your dog knows, okay, if I don't do this, instead I do this, I get a reward. Always positive reinforcement and gentle correction methods. These teach your dog boundaries without being afraid of you. Now, if you go and hit your dog because your dog got up on the table, he won't know what mistake he did. He just will know that you hit him. Is that what you want? Is that what you really want your dog to feel? No, right? So don't do that. And with that, we come to point number 8. See, there's always a problem with these fingers. Regular exercise and mental stimulation. You have to provide your dog exercise every day. That's a non-negotiable part of being a dog guardian. Exercise has to be every day. For mental stimulation, you can get those toys. There are so many interactive toys, puzzles, and everything for dogs. You can use them to provide your dog mental stimulation, but walking and exercising is a must for every day. Now, depending on the breed, you may require a lot of exercise or you may require less exercise, but some form and a bit of exercise is compulsory on an everyday basis. Point number 9. Monitor the body language of your dog. If your dog is showing, if you notice that the hair on his back is standing up, your dog is afraid. If the ears go back and he's baring his teeth, your dog is afraid of something and is trying to tell you to back off. So you have to start learning canine body language. If you've not started already, there are many videos on YouTube where you can go through, which will teach you how dogs behave in specific situations. If you notice your dog's back arched, like a little bit like a cat, and your dog is like, head is low, ears are back, that means your dog is ready to charge and really should not be approached. If your dog's pupils are absolutely dilated with this huge big expression on his face like this, and his ears are back flat against his head, that means your dog is really scared, and that is not the time you should approach your dog or try to talk to him. Let him calm down first. So these are some points that you need to be aware of when it comes to dog body language. Dogs communicate mostly non-verbally. They will tell you if they're afraid of you, they're happy, they're sad, everything you can get to know just by looking at your dog. So learn these. Point number 10, go for professional evaluation. If you are not able to remove that biting behavior of your dog, you've tried positive reinforcement, you've tried being patient, you've given your dog ample amount of time, but the behavior is not improving. Well, what can you do? You need to consult your vet. Find out if there is any underlying medical issue because of which your dog is behaving this way, because it could be that your dog's just not feeling well and he's not able to communicate it to you. And when we don't feel well, we get irritated. It's the same with dogs. Your dog is irritating and is acting out because of that. So you have to first get a vet checkup. If the vet gives a clean bill of health and says that there is no physical problem with your dog, then you need to go for a professional canine behaviorist or a dog trainer or whatever, a dog psychologist, so that they can work out the nitty-gritty details with you and you get to know where exactly things are going wrong, what approach you need to use, or if there is a mildly different approach that you need to use with your dog. Every dog's different, and every dog needs to be treated differently. So good luck on this journey. With that, I have covered my 10 points, and I will see you guys in my next video. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, please. It really helps the YouTube algorithm, and I appreciate you guys so much for it. So leave a comment. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.